darling, if our romance should break us, I hope I never wake up. If you are but a dream.
Hi, Steve Adubato here at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center in beautiful Newark, New Jersey. This is One on One. You were just looking at a clip. That was Frank Sinatra, as you well know, a clip called The House I Live In. It was a government video that Sinatra did that speaks for itself, and the man about to introduce knows all about this. He is Robert Foster, Executive Director, Hoboken Historical Museum. And why do we have him? Well, because there's a Sinatra exhibit. It's called Frank Sinatra, the Man, the Voice, and the Fans. It's going all the way through to July 3rd, 2016. Good to see you, Mr. Foster.
Thanks for the opportunity.
100th birthday of Frank Sinatra. What's the deal? I mean, I've been fascinated by Sinatra. You know, my family weekends wouldn't be complete without Sinatra being played throughout our home. He was an icon for our family. You know, there's controversies as well about him. But what makes Sinatra an enduring figure all these years later?
It's, you know, for each person, it's something different. I think the people that I meet are similar to your connection, is that someone introduced them to this music when they're young. And I kind of liken it to almost like the food that your mom made. That food is almost like comfort food, and that music is comfort food. And it's incredible to meet someone who's 93, 94 years old, and they'll talk about cutting out of school without their parents knowing about it and going to the Paramount in New York.
I was just going to say the Paramount in New York.
Yeah.
I used to hear that from my great aunts.
Right. And so you just hear their stories and you realize that Frank Sinatra to them is like the best spiritual leader, the best politician, like a leader. And music is such a strong medium that you can't really process it, you can't intellectualize it. When you hear it, you just feel it. And to get that feeling from your youth, something that your parents passed on to you, can actually, you know, you can listen to a Frank Sinatra song that your parents introduce you to, and you can start crying. You can't even control it.
You know, I just, the James Kaplan book that just came out, our executive producer, Jen Eichlin, just gave it to me. Jen, we actually have Mr. Kaplan coming into our Tisch WNET studio for an interview. It's called The Chairman.
Yes.
And I just started reading it, and it's just powerful. You know, Kaplan's done a whole series, he's done great stuff on Sinatra. It's almost like there's never enough to write about this guy. There aren't enough stories. You could never, am I exaggerating?
Well, you're right.
Or they're the same stories?
They are the same stories, and with the museum, we're a little careful of that because sometimes the stories change over the time.
What is in the museum? What's the exhibit?
The exhibit is called The Man, the Voice, and the Fans.
What do people see?
And good question. I mean, we're hitting all three areas. We go over his career, and so there are media stations that are chronological. And so you start with Major Beau's Amateur Hour. That's the way Frank was discovered, kind of a star search program of the day. It's a 3-minute piece. And then we also show how Frank is honored today. Every year, the city of Hoboken, through Cultural Affairs, has a Sinatra Idol event. Sounds a little corny, but these are the people who are keeping the music alive. So we kind of show the early years, and
Right.
we're showing how he's honored today.
There's an interesting connection between Sinatra and Hoboken.
Yeah, I mean...
Because Dolly and Marty, his
Sure.
parents.
Yeah. I mean, Frank Sinatra is growing up in the 1930s, and if you are Italian, not just Hoboken, but if you're, you know, Italian in this country in the 1930s, chances are you're first-generation immigrant, you're at the low end of the social strata, and you are discriminated against.
Dolly and Marty were.
Yeah, definitely. And in that clip, The House I Live In, it kind of deals with discrimination.
That's right, it does.
And generally, we're talking about discrimination between Italians and Irish. They're the ones that are going after it. It's not until those two groups start intermarrying and
Right.
getting together for Thanksgiving, that things change. Usually today we talk about discrimination about other groups, but then it was definitely those
Let
groups.
me ask you this, Bob. Any part of the exhibit about Sinatra in Hoboken, by the way, the website's being put up so people can find out more information about it. Sinatra also not just a compelling voice, and he wins the Academy Award in 1954, I believe.
Here to Eternity.
Here to Eternity, playing Maggio, changing his life, right?
Sure.
Because he was down. I mean, in the 50s, early 50s, he
Yeah.
couldn't get work.
Sure.
Performing nowhere, other than in the mob joints that would, frankly, employ him. That's just a fact, right? Do you, in fact, in any way talk about the connection that Sinatra allegedly had with organized crime figures?
We actually don't.
By design.
Yeah. Not really. I mean, we just didn't want to focus on that.
Is it not important?
I don't, again, our exhibit focuses on so much about the fans' love of Sinatra.
Right.
And we have different memory books around the museum where people, when they come in, they want to tell their story. So
You brought
we
a memory
have,
book.
Yeah.
So people write about their connection to
Correct.
Sinatra? But he would have been 100, so who the heck is writing about him?
We have people coming in who are 3 generations. They're bringing in the 90-year-old Bobby Soxer. They're bringing in the next generation all the way down to the 9-year-old. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, it is nostalgia, but the fact that they can share all through this music one person. So we're not as concerned with, shall we say, his early arrests. You always
Right.
see that mugshot,
Right.
a la Sopranos.
Yes.
We don't have that on display. This is an exhibit that really honors him
It
more
celebrates
than
his life?
Yeah, definitely.
So I had this conversation. I wrote a piece for New Jersey Monthly Magazine, which will be, you can Google it and it'll come up, on Sinatra for his 100th birthday. And I talked to different people, and one of them was Joe Piscopo, who performed Sinatra, and he was one of the few performers that Sinatra thought it was okay for him to do him.
Sure.
And he tells his own story, which I repeat in the article. But what's so fascinating about it is I asked Piscopo whether he thought Sinatra would be celebrated 150, 200 years from now. He said, absolutely no doubt. What do you say?
Definitely.
Definitely?
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Because?
Just
Well,
because
who's going to be around?
his music will be around. The man made over 50 films. Those films play continually. And so I have no doubt. I have no doubt. We have 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds coming in who know about Sinatra from Granddad. They're passing it on. The music passes through.
An admission at the museum to see the exhibit?
Big $3.
No,
Big
that's
$3.
it?
That is it.
What a great deal.
We have a lot of events. We generally have a Sinatra singer coming in, a tribute singer, once a month. We do films on the second Tuesdays of the month.
I got to ask you this, because I grew up as a kid hearing that Sinatra used to get bread from my neighborhood from Giordano's.
Right.
You told me something else. You brought bread.
Yeah, this is a similar story, but I've seen the canceled checks from Dom's Bakery.
From Dom's, this is
beautiful
this is
bread.
called, just so you don't know, this is in my neighborhood called a panel. Did you know this is called a panel?
I did not.
It's from Naples, that's the word panel. I don't know how to
Okay.
spell it. And this is very heavy. Sinatra would order this.
Yes. This is after he moved out of Hoboken, and he's getting this in the 1980s. I've seen canceled checks from Dom's. He would have it FedExed out to Palm Springs. And this is bread you got to eat quick. This is just...
Guys, I'm going to do this on the air. You cannot believe how great this, did you just come from Dom's
yes,
today?
I stopped. It was warm on the car ride over.
The crust is unbelievable. This is what Sinatra would order from his...
Yes.
People still love him in Hoboken.
Yes, and they love the bread. And again, another way to connect to Frank is through food. And of course, he's giving us the music.
You don't have to be Italian to love Sinatra, right?
That is true.
And you've seen the canceled checks?
I have seen the canceled checks, yes.
Tell everybody one more time while I'm eating. The exhibit goes till?
July 3rd. We have free parking, which is always an issue. We have a great program, and we're going to be making a little booklet from all the memories that people live.
And what's the exhibit called?
Frank Sinatra, the man, the music, and the fans.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Sinatra, great stuff.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Stay with us from the New Jersey Performing Arts Center in beautiful Hoboken is great, but Newark's pretty good too. NJPAC, be right back right after this.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJPAC has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and by the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, in cooperation with NJTV and 13 for WNET. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJPAC has been provided by Barnabas Health, TD Bank, Cone Resnick, Josh S. Weston, NJ Best, Gibbons PC, and by the New Jersey Education Association. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, Small News, Big News, True Jersey, and by NJ Biz, All Business, All New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.